Now, we're listening, okay?
Okay.
Using our listening ears, okay? So what do we know about floating and sinking? What does it mean when something is sinking? It goes to the bottom, Kelsey?
Yes. People are scuba diving.
When people dive, they're sinking in the water, right?
Scuba diving.
Raise your hand, okay? What about floating? What does it mean when something's floating? Sophia, crisscross applesauce. We're looking at me. What does it mean when something is floating? Grace.
Scuba diving.
Scuba diving is when they're diving into the water. They're sinking down, right? But sometimes when you're scuba diving, you can float on the top. It depends. If you're in shallow water, sometimes you can float on top and see underneath. But we're talking about what things would sink in water.
Boats.
Boats could sink in water, right?
Yes. And if they were shot in the bottom.
And people could die. Yes, Knox.
And we have boats will sink in. That will be shot in the water, shot in the bottom of it, and that will make it sink.
If they have a hole, they'll sink, right? Why do they sink if they have a hole in it?
The water will get in the boat and make it heavy.
The water will get in the boat and make it heavy. Yes, Lexa.
After them dive in the water, they'll need goggles to see.
They do need goggles. Okay, well what about...
I didn't ask mine.
Just a second, I'll give you a chance. Okay, in the book Floating and Sinking, there are some examples of things that are floating and sinking. So, here we have a ship. Look at the ship. And it says, a big ship is very heavy, right? Big ships are heavy. It is made of steel. If the ship were made into a solid ball of steel, it would sink, because steel's heavy. Steel ships float because the metal is shaped so that there is lots of air inside. So the reason why this boat is floating is because there's a lot of air inside. It's not solid. It's not all just steel. They made it, they shaped it, so there's a lot of air inside the boat, which makes it float. Right. So this boat is floating.
And did I have a chance?
It's hollow inside. Yes. Yes, Grace.
Like,
Sophia.
things that almost like a boat that like sink underwater, that like circle.
What are those things called? Do you remember?
No.
No? But they float on the water?
Boats.
Boats float on the water. Good, Lexa.
And beach balls.
And beach balls. We learned about that too. Beach balls float on the water.
People fell into the water because
Beach balls, why do beach balls float on the water?
because
Because they're filled with air. And the air, yeah, it makes it light. So they can float. They're lighter than the water. Yes, Adelie.
Tomorrow's my snack day.
Okay, we're not talking about that right now. Okay, in this... Yes, in this picture, we have, there it shows a boat that's lower, closer to the water, and it's carrying a bunch of boxes. It's carrying like supplies. Okay? And then it shows this boat that's higher up on the water. It's floating even more. And why do you think that is?
Because it doesn't have blocks in it.
It doesn't have supplies on the boat. It doesn't have blocks. It's not carrying those boxes. Okay, so it's lighter, so it's floating more. Okay? Okay, who swims? Who likes to swim?
Me.
Everybody? Mostly everyone? Okay. If you didn't wear water wings, what do you think would happen?
Dave doesn't like to swim.
If you didn't wear water wings, what do you think would happen?
You'll drown.
You could drown, right?
Like me. When I was a baby.
Why do you think the water wings help you?
They'll keep you up.
They keep you up above water. They help you float. Because what are they filled of?
That's what it
light, and the air keeps you above the water so you can swim and breathe, right? Yes, Grace.
One day, Mommy bought me some swimming clothes.
Wow, that's great. Yes, Kelsey.
Well, I don't use a swim to go on your arms.
You don't use water wings? So now you can swim without water wings? You can keep yourself above water without them?
I can swim, I splash, but I used to wear a vest.
Okay, you can use a vest too. Vests help you float.
I would use water wings.
Some of you can swim without them now. Yes, Lexa.
I use water wings.
We're listening to Lexa.
I will goggles when I swim.
You use goggles so you can see underwater? Yes, Adelie.
One time I used water wings and I didn't. One time too.
Okay. Yes. Nate.
Well, yesterday I flew with my swimming suit, and then I have updates, and I have my goggles on. And felt me that, and I.
Did you wear water wings?
And I can't go underwater. I can just float.
Okay.
That water.
Yes, this is water.
At the pool. And what is this water? I can't swim because big water in here.
Okay, everyone scoot up just a little bit. Stay quiet. And we're going to sit only on our bottoms. Crisscross applesauce. Scoot up a little bit. You got no, scoot up this way. Scoot up this way. So you can see better. Because this is a tub of water. And I'm going to show you how some things float and some things sink. Okay, but I'm going to ask you first what you think, all right? And later on you're going to get a chance to do it yourself, to test it yourself, to see if things float and see if things sink. So what do you think this will do?
Float.
You think this is going to float or sink?
Float.
Float. Why do you think it's going to float?
It is light.
Because it's light.
Sink.
Why do you think it's going to sink, Adelie?
Because it's heavy.
You think this is heavy?
Yeah, I think that one too.
Here,
Me too.
Kelsey, lift it up. Does that feel heavy or light?
Light.
Light. So if it's light, what do you think it's going to do?
It's gonna
Float. Let's see what happens. What is it doing?
floating.
Can you see that it's floating?
Yes.
That's because it's lighter than the water.
You put water on it.
I know. These things are going to get a little wet. All right. So what do we think about? What do we think about these keys? What are they made of? Metal.
It's heavy.
And do you think metal is heavy?
Yeah.
So do you think it's going to sink or float?
Sink.
Okay, let's see. Whoop. It
It
went straight to the bottom, and so it
sink.
sank. They sank. They sank straight to the bottom. I'm going to leave them there, okay? 'Cause I don't want to get my hands wet. It sank. What do you think about this big fireman?
It's heavy. Heavy.
You think it's heavy?
Heavy. Can I feel it?
You can feel it later in small group when you can try your own yourself, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so you think this is heavy, so you think it's going to
Sink.
sink. That's your prediction?
Yeah. Sink. Yeah.
It sank all the way to the bottom. Let's see it again. Ready? Oh. That fireman needs water, or doesn't he? Here, look. What about this? This is wood, right?
Yeah.
Very thin piece of wood. What do you think it's going to do? Do you think it's, listen, do you think it's heavy or light? Light, so you think it's going to sink or float? Some of you said sink, some of you said float. So you think it's light, but that it's going to sink? Okay, so your prediction is some said sink, some said float. Let's see what happens. It floats. This is lighter than the water. The wood is light. Wood floats. Wood always floats in water. Okay.